Hello and welcome to the Pirate King Plays Genshin Impact. Sorry about the pause right there. My capture card was having issues again. Right. So we didn't stream yesterday because Genshin was updating when it didn't say it was going to. So we got a whole new update here, 4.6. It said it was going to update today from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. But instead it was going last night, and I wanted to be streaming. Mention exclusive PlayStation bundle. I know I just got one. I wonder if it's the same thing. Also, the issue fix compensation and maintenance compensation. Yeah, this was the thing. You know what that means, but I'll show you after. Just wanna make that notification go away. Why that's even an option in here. Right. We're just gonna grab through a few things because I didn't know if there was gonna be any dialogue going into the new quest. Let's see what we can go through. Yeah, we're doing the hangout first. Oh, they put new stuff in battle for specific weapons. Interesting. And of course, prototype Rancor is what I have the Traveler using. 50. These are just like random achievements and rewards for. It's sort of a new thing. Alright, that was that. Let's do this first. Hey! New character who's gonna show up in the thing. I just have to pick one of these. Sure. I never do this anyway. See how we have 8? We also have a lot of Prima Gems. So, now I have enough for a poll. And of course, we're going to do this one with the new character. Might as well start off the stream with it, yeah? And we'll get back to the Hangout quest. There is Shadow. Cool Steel. Emerald Ore. Xiangling. I don't actually know, we might have her full constellation already. Cool Steel. Skyrider Sword. There is Shadow. Skyrider Sword. Skyrider Sword. Harbinger of Dawn. Wow. I hate that. That felt useless. Thanks for that. Alright, next up.
Once, there was a...
Skip that. It's the same every fucking month. We'll be again here later. Quest. Ah, of course, test run. There's your chapter. New area. Undersea capital. Lost homeland. New boss down there. Request Shadow. Shadow, that's probably too far. Yep, there's her story quest. I know we're still doing that. It won't go away until I do this. So unlock. Don't get the quest yet. Right. Now go back to our quest. Also, where's the new area? Is it an undersea thing? Oh, they filled it in! They filled in the gap! Amazing! I was wondering if they would do that, since they linked over here with Chen Vale. Man, this game is gonna keep expanding for years and years, and eventually we're going to have an entire globe. Unless the world is flat. Who knows? Actually, given how we can see things at quite the distance, the world of Tevat may in fact be flat. never know. Hang out. We're hanging out with Lynette. Oh, and apparently Linny and Chevros.
Lynette, you're, not at rehearsal?
You can drop the act, brother. In fact, I don't think either of us will have a need for acting anytime soon. You should know better than to try and keep something from me. You've never been able to do that, even when we were kids.
And that's why I tried to distract you with the masked mime show. But I guess you're just too good.
Care to introduce us to your new assistant?
No,
This is Officer Chevros, captain of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol. You may have met her already.
We meet again.
Nice to see you. I should clarify something. Mr. Linney's here at my invitation, not the other way around. To borrow your expression, Miss Lynette, I suppose that would make him my assistant more than anything. We
not the
brought
right
on
phrase.
Mr. Linney as a
My
consultant in the past. He was instrumental in helping us crack a case involving a perpetrator who used magic tricks to commit crimes. I was hoping he'd be able to provide some valuable insight this time around as well.
Are you here because of the Lefevre case?
So you've heard everything then?
That's exactly why we're here. There's always been questions surrounding the fall of the Lefevre family. Some people even believe the House of the Hearth was involved.
Yes,
Whoever
they
was
were.
behind it all was extremely cautious. They didn't leave a shred of evidence. This very fact, however, leads me to believe it was indeed the work of that harbinger.
We're correct.
I took a look at the entrance and exit records of all the carriages that night. Let's just say it wasn't hard to deduce that there's ill will between you two. Don't worry, I don't have any evidence to that effect, and I certainly don't plan on going to bat for such a despicable family. Plus, you were victims back then more than anything. I sought Mr. Linney's help with the smuggling case. Nothing more.
You're really teaming up with the House of the Hearth.
The way I look at it, it's a collaboration between us as people, not the organizations we represent. Besides, by working together, we can expose the truth as quickly as possible. You can hardly say that's at odds with the justice my organization strives for.
I'm assuming you wouldn't be opposed to some extra help.
Not at all. I was planning to invite you from the very beginning, Miss Lynette. It's just that my assistant here raised some objections.
Linny, I'm not the same person I was back then. That little girl who did nothing but cower in the corner in fear, she doesn't need saving anymore.
I know you want to protect your little sister. Little sisters don't stay little forever.
I'm sorry, Lynette. You're right. I let my concerns get the better of me.
Oh, and the next time you want to distract me, you should try a different approach.
Who's this? You pick up a stray while I was gone?
It's a bit complicated. I'll explain later. Anyway, her name's Bonnie.
Well, if there are no objections, then I suppose the only thing left to say is... Lynette, Traveler, welcome to the team.
Chevros and Linny share with you that they learned.
It appears the Lefevre family was very particular in their use of insignias and emblems. The family would use different emblems to mark differences in status, blood relation, and the like. In fact, the insignia that was discovered on the pendant was used to represent an illegitimate child.
It's highly likely.
I missed that.
That very
Sorry, got
status
distracted.
might have been what allowed him to emerge from
thanks
the
for the
fall of
follow,
his family
Lisa
relatively
Tate.
unscathed. It would also explain why he was able to assume a new identity as a researcher with relative ease.
We discovered something interesting, though. After talking to some of his co-workers, it appears he pretty much works at the Institute in name only. He's practically been cast out.
Wait, what happened?
Apparently, Pierre was once addicted to synth. He tried to use the resources at the Institute to create a substance with a similar effect.
No, I don't want that. Also, you should know, Lisa, that is incredibly rude. Do not advertise on other people's streams. I hope you're hearing me. It is incredibly rude to advertise on other people's streams. That is my only warning. Mention it again and you get banned.
He claimed it was just for research purposes, but the Institute revoked his access to the relevant materials regardless. He was placed on disciplinary leave, pending a thorough investigation of his actions. But it seems the Institute ran into some trouble along the way. Could have been a lack of personnel or a timing issue. In any case, they had to table their formal investigation into Pierre. Unfortunately, that also included reporting any relevant information to the higher authorities. As for his family background, it appears none of his co-workers at the Institute were aware of that information. All they could tell us was that he was quite the recluse.
Maybe we'll have to take our investigation elsewhere then. Did you find anything useful at his residence?
Other than the pendant, we didn't find anything else of note at his residence in Poisson. Based on the samples of imitation synth we've been able to analyze, it appears the substance leaves behind strong traces wherever it's produced or stored. Those traces might not be obvious to the casual observer, but they're not something our guard poodles would miss.
Oh, you're actually a bot!
Came up completely
You're
clean.
actually a fucking bot. You're getting banned.
We didn't find any records indicating possible involvement in overseas transactions either. So, the Marechaussee Phantom didn't view him as a major suspect at first.
Maybe he had a separate, dedicated area where he made the imitation synth.
Well, his neighbors did say he was often gone for long stretches of time. You would think with him out and about so much, people would have spotted him around Poisson, but residents said they barely ever saw him in town. If his reclusive nature was just a matter of keeping a low profile, I guess it would make sense for him to have a secret base to carry out his business.
After he disappeared, the guards conducted a thorough search of Poisson, but they didn't come across any suspicious locations.
Poisson. You know Hotel de Boer, where I first found Bonnie? To get there from Poisson, you have to cross a stretch of ocean. It's not somewhere a cat could just wander off on its own.
A cat? You mean...
Bonnie is Pierre's cat.
Oh, that's right! When the Marechaussee Phantom first tracked him down, I remember there being something about a cat in their report. So this is her?
From what we've learned about Pierre's habits, he doesn't seem like the type to venture out without a purpose. So what you're saying, Lynette, is that Bonnie couldn't have gone missing in Poisson. If that's true, then...
Exactly. Bonnie might even know where it is.
Wait, you think the cat can lead us there? But she's not trained like one of our guard poodles. How is she supposed to understand what we want her to do?
Alright, so this is a thing, I'm gonna go with the first option because we always go with the first option on our first run through of a hangout quest. But that second one, just to get you all up to speed, for this hangout quest, they actually gave us a random number generator in the form of a hat and cards, which is, it pulls a number from 1 to 20. It's a D20, it's a 20-sided die. And they're pulling up things with like passive checks and animal handling has come up. This is the second time now. They put D&D skill checks into Genshin Impact. So silly. Alright. Lynette could give it a try.
Meow. Meow meow. Meow?
Bonnie seems to understand what you want her to do.
Near the coast, the beach, and beneath the cliffs. The place we're looking for is most likely north of the Court of Fontaine.
Well, I've certainly never taken a witness statement like this before.
Well, if it works out, maybe it's something worth getting used to.
Cats and humans are actually pretty alike. When it comes to communication, most of what we want to convey can be accomplished through body language alone. But humans tend to rely too much on speech to ever take advantage of that fact. Of course, body language has its limitations. you're not gonna be able to get across anything too complicated.
The important thing is that we now have a lead. Let's try and find a place that matches the clues Bonnie gave us.
Car, where are we going? Here we are.
Seems like Bonnie is trying to take us somewhere. Gardamex ahead.
Look out!
Attack will stun them. Well, the smaller ones. This guy takes 2 of those.
Here! Time for
Come
retribution!
behind me, but still got hit.
Ta! Ha!
Let the show begin.
Ta! Ta! Yeah! Ha! Ha!
There you are. Oh.
Wow, Lynette, you found this place so easily. If I thought there was any chance you'd say yes, I'd recruit you into the Special Patrol here and now, no questions asked.
Sounds familiar. I pretty much receive letters daily from people trying to poach her from me.
Let's just focus on our search. There's a lot to investigate.
Aha! Just as we thought. This is where the imitation synth was being made.
These bottles and jars, they're all imitation synth?
Looks like he's got more than just imitation synth stashed around here. In addition to the raw materials needed to synthesize the substance itself, there's a large quantity of cleaning agents and a few drugs I haven't been able to identify. These cleaning agents are likely used to dispel traces of the substance, like its smell. The Special Patrol did some digging into imitation synth. Our records indicate that it's very difficult for ordinary people to detect traces left behind by the stuff. I'm sure that was the case for Pierre as well. It must have taken a considerable amount of time and skill to ensure all those traces get washed away. But what are these other drugs for?
The material these bags are made of, it's quite rare.
Doesn't it look similar to the material used for your magic pockets?
It's the very same, actually. Romaritime flower fiber. But there's something special about the composition of these bags. I took a closer look, and it appears they're not only waterproof, but also corrosion and leak resistant. Even the strings look specially designed to keep the bags closed nice and tight. I came across some bags made of the same material just now, but they were much smaller and thinner. From the look of them, they seemed far less durable as well.
So, kind of like one of those small sealed bags?
Very similar, actually. Normally, it would be easy for a guard poodle to sniff out the imitation synth, but if it was sealed away in a bag like that, it might be possible to elude detection for some time.
Dime bags. They're
But
talking
what
about
could these
dime
big bags be for then? If the goal is to keep the imitation synth hidden and sealed away, these bags seem a bit too conspicuous.
Oh,
When the Marechaussee Phantom searched Pierre's house, there was no sign of these barrels, right?
he must have moved them. But carrying them all the way out here would attract too much attention.
You're right. That doesn't seem like his way of doing things. How did he get them here then?
The barrel shows signs of water damage. Dried up water stains can be seen around the circumference of the barrels. There seems to be a pattern to the location of the water stains. For some reason, they appear to be limited to the lower half of the barrels. The lids don't seem very tight, leaving sizable gaps around the edges. But there doesn't appear to be any traces of water inside them.
Only the lower halves of the barrels appear to have been submerged in water.
Floated them down here. Or up here.
Based on the various ingredients we've found, this appears to be where Pierre was cooking up his imitation synth. It looks like he used a special cleaning agent to get rid of any residual traces of the substance on his person before he left. That's how he was able to get past the guard poodles.
That's why the Marchose fans didn't find anything suspicious inside.
So then he transferred the imitation synth into small sealed bags and took it somewhere else for the drop-off.
No. I don't believe our suspect is the kind of person who'd go around carrying incriminating evidence with him. That would potentially create too many eyewitnesses. The cleaning agent and the sealed bags might get past the guard poodles, but if a member of the public or even a guard on patrol happened to see him during the drop-off, a quick search would reveal everything. That's still a very risky operation.
What about if the drop-off happened at sea? No one around to see him.
The barrels we found were wet around the base, but the top half was dry. As if they'd been standing upright in the water.
Yep. Floated.
If you put a barrel in the water, it will normally float on its side. Unless it's heavily loaded, in which case it'll sink.
Someone must have used something to tightly seal big bags full of air.
Yes. With flotation rings around the body of the barrels, they'd stay upright in the water. And then he could afford to load them more fully.
You think he used floating barrels? I suppose if he acted at night, when there are very few other boats around and visibility is low, it's a valid theory. We can't rule it out.
But then wouldn't the barrels be carried off by the waves or the currents? How would the person doing the pickup know where to look?
Barrels that could float away and get lost at sea sounds difficult to keep in one place. Kind of like certain pets.
Traveler, can you come take a dip in the sea with me? I have a feeling that somewhere down there, we might find some rope. If a rope can be used to keep a pet from running away, then why not a barrel?
I do like that they're actually having us use the environment as we should in this. Fontaine's the only place we can swim underwater, so.
This isn't the place. The wreckage of a small boat? This isn't the place.
Perception check success. Okay, it is actually something visible.
Got it. Time to go up and report.
What if the check had failed? Would we have just had to see it on our own? Could it even have failed? Is it an actual check? Are they just doing those for show? Showing that, hey, we can do this thing.
As expected, we found a few pieces of rope and some anchoring stones underwater. If you attach them to a floating barrel, it would look like this. With this anchoring system, it would be possible to use floating barrels for the drop-off. You would just need to drop them in the water at the agreed-upon location. We also came across the wreckage of a small boat. It must have been left out on the water and capsized due to the force of the wind and waves. Its small size, however, would have made it perfect for staying undetected.
Let's talk this through. Based on the evidence we've collected, It seems like Pierre would row a small boat out to the agreed-upon transfer point, drop off the barrels, leave, and then row back and retrieve them after the transfer was complete.
Why is such a convoluted drop-off method, though? Wouldn't it be easier for both parties to meet up at the transfer point for their respective vessels and exchange the goods right there and then?
It could be that he was trying to avoid meeting up with his associate face to face. As one of the sole survivors of the Lefebvre family, maybe he was just used to that sort of elusive lifestyle.
It seems like Pierre deliberately chose the floating barrel method so that the goods could be dropped off and picked up at separate times. That way, the two parties wouldn't have to meet each other.
Well, if that's the case, they must not have a very close working relationship.
Let's not jump to any conclusions just yet. Assumptions can be detrimental to solving a case. It's possible they were just trying to keep a low profile. Two boats sailing to the same location at once could be too conspicuous. The most important thing is that we can now confirm Pierre wasn't acting alone. The floating barrel drop-off system is proof enough of that. Let's say for now that he was only in charge of producing the imitation synth. That would mean there has to be at least one other person involved in the operation, likely in charge of transporting the goods across the border.
That explains why we couldn't find evidence linking it to the overseas operations.
Since we've determined that the goods were transported by boat, maybe we can track down some travel logs or something.
We can certainly check the various ports for that information. It's possible, however, that Pierre's associate also used a small boat for the transport, and docked along the shore rather than at a large port. If that's the case, it's unlikely there would be any record left behind.
Already?
Absolutely. Before Pierre disappeared, we made sure to investigate all sorts of outward-bound vessels. We also had port authorities keep a lookout for anything suspicious. Unfortunately, we were never able to find out how they managed to get the imitation synth across the border.
Small boat, 2 barrels isn't going to get you very far.
You're right. Whatever vessel was used for the pickup, the person responsible for smuggling the substance out of Fontaine would have had to use a larger vessel for the actual transport. That's the only way they would be able to smuggle on a large enough scale to make a profit. They must have found a way to disguise the imitation synth to clear port inspections.
Well, even if we can't find any travel logs, we can still search for other clues.
Exactly. We can't let any opportunities slip through the cracks. Although, given the amount of ports that could be involved, we should probably split up.
I'll run home and
We can
ask
only
some
go
of
to
my
2.
brothers and sisters to try and dig up some information.
I should also head back and update my platoon on our progress. I'll grab some reinforcements while I'm at it. Lynette, Traveler, why don't you head to Lumideus Harbor and see what you can find out?
All right. Come on, Bonnie. You too.
It is the second one.
Oh, Lynette, Traveler. And Bonnie, too. What brings you all
Oh,
here?
it's Elodie again.
Did something happen?
We're here to check the travel logs. Should we update them on the situation?
Oh. I see. Thank you for everything you're doing for the people of Fontaine.
That read did not have the exclamation point right there. That was written there. She said, "Ah, I see. That sounds disappointed. How it's written is, ah, I see. Thank you for everything you've done." Or excited. Or thankful. What are you doing here?
I'm in charge of guarding the port. You mentioned you were after some travel logs, right? I can go fetch those for you.
Looks like I've got another hard day of work ahead of me.
Are things usually pretty hectic around here?
No, not usually. It's this incident that happened recently. Before that, everything was normal. All we had to do was confiscate anything suspicious and we could call it a day. Pretty simple stuff. But things are much more complicated now. We somehow let suspicious cargo pass through the port undetected. Not even our guard poodles were able to sniff it out. Even worse, we still don't know how the perpetrator was able to conceal the goods so well.
By suspicious cargo, do you mean imitation synth?
Yep.
Gotta put the
However,
emphasis on the
prohibited
synth
substances
part.
are just one example.
Imitation synth, not
We
imitation
confiscate
synth.
all sorts of contraband during the course of our inspections. Or at least, we're supposed to.
So what happens to the goods you confiscate?
Sorry that I'm just
We
critiquing the
keep them
voice
in a
acting.
storage locker. If they turn out to be something particularly dubious, we'll turn them over to the Maison Orderly. If the goods are only
it's still
slightly
good voice
suspicious
acting.
but could otherwise be harmless, like raw materials that could potentially be used to create contraband, we return them to the ship they were confiscated from, instead of letting them pass through the port.
Sorry for the wait. These are the travel logs for all the recent activity at the port.
Our dog. Gerard.
You
Wait.
brought Gerard with you.
Actually, he followed me here himself. It's like he smells something on me.
Ah.
Huh. I wonder why Gerard is reacting to you two so strongly.
Could it be because we just left the place where the imitation synth was made?
Huh? We were so careful not to touch it, but we still ended up with traces on us. If it leaves a residue so easily, I just don't understand how the culprit was able to disguise the goods at all.
Why don't you have a look at the travel logs first? All ships coming in and out of the port are recorded here, except for the ones the port authorities ride to and from work.
Oh. Flip through them. Where the Humane Society is listed, name really seems to stand out. Okay. Oh, and this one I can.
The Humane Society.
We've encountered that organization before, right?
Their name is all over the exit logs. The purpose for leaving is always listed as overseas adoption.
Ah, the director of the organization explained that actually. He said a lot of the cat and dog breeds unique to Fontaine are also very popular overseas. So his organization offers an overseas adoption program.
Bernard, the director of the Humane Society, was the man who came looking for Bonnie earlier.
The cat that fled from Pierre looks just like the cat the Humane Society is looking for. Could that really be a coincidence? It seemed as if Bernard was also hiding something. He seemed so insistent, but only ran a cursory check before just leaving. When he came looking for Bonnie earlier, what if he wasn't actually there to check if Bonnie was his missing cat? Maybe he was there for some other purpose.
Have you figured it out too, Traveler? The way the criminal disguised the goods? When Bernard asked to take a closer look at Bonnie, he was actually checking whether there was any imitation synth in her stomach.
I was hoping it wasn't that. I was hoping it wasn't inside the pets. He was using the animals at his shelter to smuggle imitation synth.
Wait, what?
The sealed bags we found at the secret base. They were specially made to be corrosion resistant.
So that they wouldn't be digested.
And there were gaps around the lids of the barrels, and airbags were used to keep them upright in the water.
So that the animals would be able to breathe.
Those drug shovers found at the secret base. She most likely didn't recognize them because they're not used on human beings. It's an anesthetic used on pets. The perpetrator must have given it to the animals.
So that they would keep still in the floating barrels.
Pierre must have made the animals swallow the sealed bags full of imitation synth at his secret base. Then he stuffed them into floating barrels and left the rest to Bernard.
The sealed bags combined with an animal's body odor would certainly be enough to mask the scent of imitation synth.
During our inspections, we would have never thought to inspect the bellies of those animals for anything suspicious. Even if we tried to feel around for something, I'm sure it would be difficult to detect.
Exactly. I bet Bernard even transported animals with synth in their stomach alongside ones without. That way, it would be even harder to say with certainty that something was amiss.
Do you think Bonnie could have imitation synth in her stomach?
She's probably in the clear. Otherwise, Bernard would have never left without her. I'm guessing he didn't know whether Pierre had already hidden the next batch of imitation synth before he fled. Just imagine. He sees the notice we put in the Steambird, and it turns out that one of the very cats he gave to Pierre for the smuggling operation is out in the open, roaming the streets of Fontaine. If Pierre had already hidden the next batch of imitation synth, then Bonnie would practically be living proof of their crimes. He would have had no choice but to go after her.
So, that's why he came to find you and insisted on taking a closer look at the cat.
Pierre must have fled in a hurry. That fact is probably what spared Bonnie.
Wait a second, I'm a little lost here. I get the part about hiding the substance in the pets, but those, what did you call them again? Floating barrels? Why even put the animals in there in the first place? If you've got something as convenient as a floating barrel, why not just stuff it with the imitation synth directly? Why not wait to hide the stuff until after the exchange has been made?
In order to make sure the animals could swallow the sealed bags, they made them extremely thin. Had they not done that, the animals would have likely bitten or chewed through them.
And if any of the imitation synth leaked out, they also would have needed a lot of cleaning agents to get rid of the resulting smell.
That step would have required a lot of energy, as well as a certain amount of technical expertise. So it was better left to the more experienced Pierre. We've already proven how easy it is to pick up trace amounts of imitation synth, so I'm sure Bernard was taking all the precautions he could to avoid the same fate.
Okay, then let's head to the Humane Society right away and bring that guy to justice. I'll bring a Gardamek to speed up the process.
I feel like we picked the most detailed route first. We're literally a drug smuggling ring using animals as their pets. Are here.
Ad Astra. Thank you for complete.
The headquarters of the Humane Society should be somewhere around here. Bernard could show up any moment now.
Ah, you're the people from earlier. Wait, you're from the guards?
After him!
Yep.
We can't let him get away!
Don't say that while not allowing me to move. Oh, yeah, you're not used to running, are you? Oh.
Give it up, Bernard.
Mercy, have mercy. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything I know.
The Humane Society has done so much good over the years, and yet you have committed such an atrocious deed in its name.
Look, I didn't have a choice, okay? My father cared about those blasted animals so much, he didn't bother to take care of his human wife and son at all. While those animals were showered with love, I lived worse than a dog.
No one asked. Tell me, how did you first get to know Pierre?
Well, after I took over the Humane Society, it gradually became harder and harder to maintain its operations. Until one day, someone suddenly passed me a letter. It said that I could stand to get a large sum of money as long as I helped them to transport some animals abroad. It was only after a few such transports that I finally understood what I was really transporting. But then, Pierre wrote to me, saying that we were already partners in crime and that I better keep cooperating with him if I didn't want to be reported to the guards.
This expression seems a bit unnatural. There's a hint of dishonesty in this trouble of yours. He's lying.
You knew it from the very beginning, didn't you? The reason why you had to go through so many steps just to transport some animals.
I'd suggest that you confess everything right now if you don't want to add anything else to your list of crimes.
Yes, officer. I would order wooden barrels and flotation devices according to his instructions, and then load the sleeping animals onto a boat. Once I sailed to the location he provided, I would dump everything together into the sea. And a few days after that, I'd come by again in my boat and pick up the animals sleeping in the barrels. Once I had received enough of them, I'd bring them to the harbor to be adopted abroad. That guy, Pierre, he was running the entire show. He set up all the meeting times and found all the foreign adopters. And he even supplied all of the goods, too. I just did the transport. He was the one who planned out and executed everything else.
So where is he now?
Look, I don't know, okay? I've never ever met him in person. We've only ever communicated through letters.
And when did he send his final letter to you?
Just last night, he said that the Marechaussee Phantom is now after him, so he's planning to go into hiding for some time. He didn't mention where he's thinking about going, though, but he did tell me to look out for the guards.
It's been a few days since Pierre's last appearance. I'd wager that he sent that letter after he found his hiding spot.
So, where is that letter now?
I burned them. It was on his orders. I had to burn every letter after reading them. I wasn't even allowed to share them with the rest of the society employees.
Sure sounds like you're trying to use the lack of witnesses or evidence to pin the blame on Pierre.
No, I swear, this time I'm only telling you the truth.
Well, we can check the truth of your statements at the Opera House. I hope you know what'll be coming for you if I were to find any discrepancy between the evidence and the testimony you just gave.
I know, I swear I was just telling the truth.
My thanks to you both. Had it not been for you, I really don't know what would have happened to this case.
Bonnie helped, too.
That's true. It was all thanks to her that Bernard was finally exposed.
Bonnie suddenly runs and hides behind you and me.
And it looks like she's grown quite fond of you two as well. Then I'll leave you be. Just let me know if you find any other new leads.
This expression seems a bit unnatural. Seems that Lynette saw something I don't know. That's just telling me, speak to Lynette first. Something in your mind still?
It was that obvious, huh? Well, even though it didn't feel like Bernard was lying, after talking to him, I'm getting an even stronger sense that something's not quite right. We investigated so quickly that perhaps we've missed a thing or two along the way. Let me activate deduction mode and consider things again from the top to see if we can find anything new.
Elodie
Is there still
Pierre.
anything unresolved or strange that we should try to consider?
How will we find a Poisson?
The Marechaussee Phantom found Bonnie and the Lefebvre pendant at Pierre's residence. That was the beginning point of our investigation.
The Lefebvre family was infamously haunted, and even their innocent scions became targets of revenge. But Pierre carried that pendant with him as if it were an ordinary piece of jewelry. The pattern on the pendant is proof of its owner's illegitimate child Lefebvre family. This shouldn't be all. According to Bernard, the trafficked animals were taken directly to Pierre's base rather than to Poisson. Bonnie has been with Pierre ever since the first meeting between Pierre and the Marechaussee Phantom. That's why Elodie came looking for her. That shouldn't be wrong. Pierre became the key suspect in the case because of a suspicious cat and a suspicious pendant.
Why would he leave such an obvious trail for us to follow when he took so much care to not leave any traces of imitation synth in his home? Bernard claims to have received a letter last night from Pierre. In the letter, Pierre stated that he had gone into hiding. Is there something wrong with the letter?
Bonnie had already been on the loose for a few days when we found her yesterday morning. I mean, she had already broken free when the letter was written. If the point of the letter was to tell Bernard to get on his guard, then why didn't it also warn him about Bonnie? Regardless of whether he sent it anonymously or secretly delivered it himself, it's no longer something we follow up on. The letter didn't mention Pierre's hiding spot, although it makes sense that Pierre wouldn't want anyone to find it.
If Bonnie had imitation synth in her body, then she was a liability that had to be recovered at all costs. But if she wasn't carrying anything, then it would have made sense to tell Bernard not to worry. And thinking about it, Bernard only attracted our attention in the first place because he came to look for Bonnie. Could it be that the person who wrote the letter also knew nothing about Bonnie's whereabouts? Or they had a separate goal entirely? Well, we've discovered that Bernard is responsible for the trafficking, while Pierre deals with supplying the goods. Is there something else in this scheme that we're missing?
They always communicated in writing. All of those letters have been burned, so we can no longer confirm or trace it. We've already proven that Bernard and Pierre coordinated their handoffs by passing floating barrels to each other for constructions of water. Any past member of the Lefebvre family would probably have a number of connections outside of Fontaine. According to Chevros's investigations, Pierre has been formally reprimanded for his synth-related research and can no longer get any materials from the Fontaine Research Institute. Bernard can be compensated for his work after completing the shipment. No suspicious records will be left as long as he receives the funds as an individual rather than through the Humane Society.
Yeah, according to Bernard, Pierre also
Assuming I was
supplied
wrong with
all of the
that.
goods. But if the Marechaussee Phantom's records are correct, Pierre should have lost all access to the materials required to create the imitation synth. And the Institute has also not reported any theft of their stocks. The final question is, why did I sense that something wasn't right after hearing Bernard's testimony? Even more so than before.
Ooh, Bernard actually might be Pierre. Both written letters and handoffs using floating barrels are methods of communication that can be intercepted. Pierre made such a complicated operations plan and yet also exposed himself so easily to the investigating guards. Bernard has never met Pierre in person. It almost feels like the plan and expose were done by two separate individuals and Pierre was set up. Okay. So I think I'm right. Bernard is Pierre. But what I wasn't expecting is that he doesn't know it. Even Bernard himself never knew that it wasn't Pierre that had been pulling the strings all along. It was someone else.
Deductive mode deactivated. I think we may be close to the actual answer.
Now behave, and follow me to the interrogation room.
Ow! That hurt. Ow!
We got a roll for contemplation. They're about to leave. Is it really okay to let them go? Adequate preparation and friendly aid can sometimes affect the results of these checks. Your current check bonus will add to your randomly drawn number, making it easier to pass checks. So you get plus 20. Really? And that's... Oh, the check objective is a 20. Yeah, even though that's a 6. 26 now, which is success. They literally, alright, here's a 20 check out of 20. Oh, but we gave you enough bonuses to just get it no matter what you drew. Amazing. No, you can't let her get away. Hold her right there.
Is there something else you need from me, Traveler?
Bernard and Pierre. They weren't really acting alone, were they?
Huh?
I see. It all makes sense now.
Hey,
Both
what
of
are
my
you
things
talking
combined,
about? Look, even our confessed criminal here has no idea what you're saying.
Because he has been kept in the dark all along. And I assume it's the same with Pierre.
Bernard thought he was communicating with Pierre, and Pierre thought he was taking orders from Bernard. But for all this time, neither of them knew there was a third person all along.
That never quite added up for me. Why did Pierre feel compelled to return to his home with Bonnie and the pendant, and make them so easy to find for the Marechaussee Phantom?
Any animals Pierre received from the floating barrel should have been taken directly to his base. And considering his precarious situation, the pendant should have been the last thing Pierre would leave lying around.
Both of these things are in stark contrast to his usual meticulous and vigilant behavior. There's only one reasonable explanation. He was following orders, just like Bernard. He probably received the following instructions right before the Phantom came knocking on his door. Bring the cat and the pendant, and our undercover agent will be sure to help you. Unbeknownst to him, however, the third person who wrote that letter to him had long decided to sacrifice him and Bernard to save themselves.
They instructed the two men to communicate through letters and barrels specifically so that they'd never get to meet each other. Honestly, this third person probably planned to sell them both out from the very beginning.
What? You can't be serious. There was a third person involved?
If you focus only on Bernard's testimony, it's easy to believe that only Bernard and Pierre were working together. The case appeared extremely simple. Bernard did the trafficking, Pierre the imitation synth production, drugging, and stuffing.
With everything accounted for, the third person would then be cleared of all suspicion.
Wait. But that doesn't make any sense. If that's the actual truth, then as soon as Pierre is caught, he'll explain his side of the story and the third person will...
Yep, which is why the third person made sure that Pierre would never be found again. Once they had instructed Pierre to expose himself, the third person wrote to Pierre again, suggesting that everything had been taken care of, and he should take Bonnie and safely return to his base.
They then ambushed Pierre and made him disappear.
Of course, Pierre's disappearance at such a sensitive time immediately made him a prime suspect. Knowing that Bonnie had last been seen with him, all the third person would have to do from that point on would be to lead the Phantom to investigate the Humane Society and get Bernard to confess the truth.
Bernard would then testify that Pierre was the one who came up with the whole plot. Pierre would be seen as having gone into hiding in anticipation of getting caught.
Wait, so you're saying that the letter I received yesterday, the one that made me think Pierre was still alive, it was also sent by the third person?
Is that what happened? I'll get back to headquarters right away and reinvestigate this case from the top.
Not so fast.
Chevra said that assumptions can be detrimental to solving a case. Someone among us, however, has been feeding us all kinds of preconceived notions ever since our first meeting. They suggested that Pierre's disappearance was an attempt to escape the judgment of the law, and that Pierre was a scion of the Lefebvre family. But if the disappearance is truly just a cover-up for a murder, then couldn't the true scion have been an illegitimate daughter, rather than an illegitimate son?
Miss Elodie Lefebvre?
Huh?
Haven't you taken this joke a bit too far? You're right. I did let a lot of assumptions get to my head when I first started to talk to you about the case. I'll make sure to correct my behavior.
You deliberately fed us lies, but even you could not control every last detail of your plan. There was a flaw in your scheme, and something didn't quite go as planned. Getting the Marechaussee Phantom to notice Pierre was only the first part of your plan.
Had they failed to take notice of the Humane Society, they could have cast a wider net. And you couldn't predict what they might possibly find if given enough time. This, of course, was the main weakness of your plan.
And once the Special Patrol and Lenny got involved, it became even harder to control the outcome of the investigation.
As someone accustomed to acting from behind the scenes, you didn't want to take the risk of personally proposing a raid on the Humane Society. So, you thought about pulling a few more strings, so all the suspicion would point towards Bernard and his society.
A great option, of course, would be to also dispose of Bonnie. For Bonnie at Pierre's base in anticipation of a later discovery.
Once the Phantom expanded their search, it would only be a matter of time before they found Pierre's base. If a cat last seen with the suspect turned up dead at the imitation synth base, it wouldn't be long until the Phantom would figure out exactly how she had been mistreated and turn their eyes towards the one organization that has been sending boatloads of animals out of Fontaine.
However, something unexpected happened at the base. Bonnie managed to escape in the chaos.
It was probably during your ambush of Pierre. You didn't even have the time to check if she had already been stuffed full of imitation synth. Still, you soon found another opportunity. Before long, Bonnie had made her way back into the city, and even popped up on the Steambird. Like Bernard, you desperately wanted to confirm the contents of her stomach, so you hurried to find us. Unlike Bernard, however, you were hoping that Pierre did have the time to make her swallow a load of imitation synth. While investigating the suspect's cat, we unexpectedly discovered that the suspect has been smuggling imitation synth using living animals as intermediaries. That was your plan, in any case. With that, you'd have been able to lead the investigation towards the Humane Society.
But Bonnie was very lucky, and you were extremely unlucky.
Bonnie had managed to escape before Pierre was able to stuff her full of imitation synth. That part of your plan could no longer be carried out. But as shrewd as you were, you came up with another plan right away. You manipulated the Traveler and I to help you identify Bernard as a key suspect.
You knew Lenny was investigating the case of Cheryls, and you also knew Lynette's previous encounter with the Lefebvre family.
You used the Lefebvre name as bait to get us to join your investigation. With 2 extra bodies around, the Special Patrol is sure to soon take note of the strange event of Bernard somehow having a reason to look for Pierre's cat.
So, what you're saying is, I went to all that trouble just for the chance that you might put forth the suggestion that would lead you down the wrong path.
Of course, you did far more than that. Just now at Lumidu's Harbor, were you not the person who highlighted the suspicious activities of the Society?
By showing us the port's travel.
Ugh.
You even highlighted the Society's activities during your compilation of the logs, so they'd be immediately visible to anyone examining the records. Moreover, the logs contained no records of the Port Authority's activities. In other words, your activities.
And what are you trying to suggest with that?
I am insinuating that you had plenty of opportunities to transfer the raw materials for imitation synth from the harbor to a boat, and then sail over to the meeting place full of floating barrels.
Once Bernard had placed the animals in the barrels, you'd open the lids and also dump the raw materials. As long as you did it before Pierre came for his pickup, there'd be no one to answer.
And that's how neither the trafficker nor the manufacturer knew there was a third person who supplied the raw materials and surreptitiously operated between them.
First, you got in touch with both parties and secured the raw materials. Then you instructed Bernard to prepare the floating barrels and the animals. After that, you slipped the raw materials into the barrels next to the animals and requested that Pierre pick up the barrels and bring them back to his base.
Pierre manufactured imitation synth using the raw materials you provided, stuffed the animals, and placed the animals back into the barrels. Having received the green light from you as Pierre, Bernard then retrieved his animals and shipped them out of Fontaine once he had received enough for a full batch. This is the truth behind your smuggling ring.
I can't believe it. I never put 2 and 2 together.
You've sure got an extremely lively imagination.
So, what do you think she's going to say next?
Ever thought about a career in writing crime novels? Or but do you have any evidence?
But do you have any evidence?
It appears that it's quite easy to predict what you'll think or say. Then, if we apply that to this case, we can also think of a few places to look for incriminating evidence. You know very well that this case will not end until Pierre is found, so you will have him commit suicide out of fear and shame to end the investigation for good. That way, you can also pin the blame for the overseas smuggling activities, the theft of the harbor's confiscated raw materials, and even the Lefebvre name on him. After all, dead men tell no tales. But you still want it to appear as if he had sent that last letter to Bernard, so you have to make sure he cannot be found until after Bernard has confessed to the authorities. To do that, you either will hide his body until you've found an appropriate time to set up a fake suicide scene, or you'll dump it someplace where it'll be hard to determine the exact time of death. Submerged in water, for instance. The location would ideally allow you to keep the body hidden for some time while also letting you keep an eye on it.
You could also keep him in a very cool environment to be handled later, or set a fire to make it look like he had burned himself to a crisp. An example of such a place may be somewhere on your own boat, or underneath the waters near Louis Harbor. I feel like all of these are just an illusion of choice, but
There are only so many options to hide a person's time of death, after all. As long as the Phantom investigates each of the possibilities in turn, they'll surely find Pierre's remains. Especially since, as the prime suspect who will now be taken into custody, you will no longer have the time to move him, or set up a fake suicide scene to cover up the murder.
How absurd. And on what grounds will you order my arrest? Don't think for a second that your spouts of nonsense will amount to any kind of real argument. After all, I'm
Elodie Lefebvre! As the captain of the Special Security and
Nice.
Surveillance Patrol, I hereby declare you as a suspect in the case. If you have any objections, you may raise them later during interrogation.
Chevros, Liddy, you're here too!
That's right. We received a message from Louis Harbor that you were going to investigate the Humane Society. We didn't expect to run into you at such a critical moment.
While at the harbor, we noticed something else extremely interesting. Apparently, you often used all kinds of excuses to swap your shifts. And if one were to match the times of your shifts to the activities of the Humane Society and those of certain foreign ships, they'd find them to be an exact match.
That's just a coincidence.
Yes, I'm sure you have already thought of a dozen different ways to explain away the suspicious activities, but as far as evidence goes, that should be enough to warrant taking you into custody.
Don't worry. If it turns out that the guards are still unable to find any evidence after all this, Lynette and I will do everything in our power to clear your name.
Although judging by her reaction, I assume no follow-up from us will be needed. The Lefebvres were infamous for using disguise and infiltration to achieve their goals. Who would have thought that they would have planted someone within the guards? Judging from the timeline, they likely arranged for you to enter the guards before the fall of the clan. But they probably didn't expect you to turn it to your advantage and use your job to save yourself during the purge. Not only that, but you actively participated in the interrogation, arrest, and judgment of the Lefebvres during their fall, thus clearing yourself of suspicion. You brutally and cruelly abandoned your allies as soon as they outlived their usefulness, just like a lizard cutting off its own tail in order to live. You've been doing this for years.
So you played me like a fool after all?
Bernard is suddenly knocked out by a sudden strike.
What was that word you used? Ally? You think that someone as foolish as him is worthy to call himself my ally? They were worthless scum, all of them. Not just Bernard and Pierre, but those Lefebvres too. They always just saw me as a tool. I lost all my chances of a normal life just because I was born into their lot. Not only that, but because they wanted me to become an undercover agent, they stripped me of my name, too. I had to live in constant fear of them while they were alive. And even once they were gone, I had to continue to bury my heritage and my name. Always worrying that their enemies would come knocking at the door. Do you know anything about what I've been through over all these years? My life as the last Lefebvre?
I don't, and neither do I care.
No one asked about your past. Save that speech for the trial.
Are you for real? Aren't you a Lefebvre victim too?
Elodie, you're the only one still living under the shadow of a name.
That's enough. Keep your hands where I can see them and do not resist arrest. If you have more to say, save it for the interrogation room.
What a joke. What a joke! Hey!
Really? You got a bomb on you?
Don't come any closer!
What's that?
Know what this is? I've secretly planted loads of explosives in the Humane Society. Just one step closer, and whether they're cats, dogs, or just unlucky human employees, they'll all be blown up into smithereens. Surely you bunch of goody two-shoes won't let that happen, right?
Deception, stealth, persuasion, or intimidation? My go-to is usually persuasion, but... Nah, I like this one. And Lynette's cooperation for +6. We need at least 11.
Did you think I was blind? Gardamex, get him!
Not good. She's trying to escape. We need to end this fight as soon as possible.
Go!
Damn it! The only one that takes 2 hits.
Burn!
Busted so quickly, huh? Good thing I've already bought enough time to escape.
If you're saying that, you don't have enough time to escape. What?
Phew. So I was right after all. It's easier to deal with the person causing the problem than the problem itself.
And what about that device she had?
This is it. Looks like it's just a toy.
So she really was So she really was just bluffing.
Guess that's probably why she suddenly flipped and knocked out Bernard. He probably knew that there were no explosives at the society.
She also pretended like she had a villainous breakdown, as if she had no choice but to kill to escape her life.
Well, given that she never even showed her face to Bernard and Pierre, I had my doubts that she'd have gone to the society in person to plant explosives.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help, everyone. I'll take them back for thorough questioning and find someone better to take over the Humane Society. I might need a few statements from everybody. Would you be able to come with me?
If statements are all you need, can Linny provide them on my behalf? I still need to go back and explain some things to the crew. I also had an appointment with the Traveler before we got interrupted.
Wait, so we admit we forget, try and remember the check, or just say it? Why would we pick any of the other two? You mean when you said I could stop by your place?
Ah, so you do remember. Yes, I invited you to come over to our place. Once I'm done talking with the troupe, I'll make a nice cup of tea and bring Bonnie to wait for you outside of my door.
right up above us or something. Oh no, we're close. Went the wrong way.
Black tea and a cute kitty. Truly the best combo for standby mode. Want some?
Cup of tea. Nope, no, hold on. A cute kitty, please.
I see she's already starting to snuggle up to you.
About Elodie's case, are you not interested in any follow-up developments?
Not at all. Information is indeed very important, but if you were to try to collect every piece of information you come across, your efficiency would actually decrease. Plus, if you just think about it, what sounds more fun? Writing a statement or enjoying a tea party?
The tea party.
Great answer. That'd be my pick too. Had we not run into that case, we could have spent the entire day like this. But now I'm running low on both time and energy.
The key isn't how long you spend in standby. Quality time, you should be able to recharge more quickly.
You're right. I can sense it. I'm recharging very quickly at the moment.
I still have a question, though. When did you start to suspect Elodie?
Something about her rubbed me the wrong way since the very beginning. But to be more precise, it was probably around the time when I saw Bonnie try to get away from her.
Back then,
Elodie tried to get close, but Bonnie deliberately dodged her. Maybe Bonnie had tried to evade her before at Pierre's base. Or perhaps Bonnie just instinctively knew that she wasn't a good person. Not everyone who likes cats is a good person. But if cats like you, you're probably alright.
Fair enough.
Humans tend to overthink things, but cats rely on their instincts, and they're pretty sharp. I mean, just look at Bonnie. She took a liking to you the moment you met.
Techs and detectives. Adventurers, investigators, and cats. Your story has come to an end. To think, that was only one path. Out of 5. Where were the splits? Because that did seem quite long. Oh. Just a real quick ending there? I was wondering if they were going to give us some, like, failure endings. Alright, so we get, there's our 1, 2, and 3. Also another path. So, normally how we do these is we go back to the closest to our current ending. Figure out where that split is. Oh! After he's already been arrested? Oh, we have to fail, don't we? I was kind of hoping that wasn't going to be a thing. So, we do it without talking to him first.
Now behave and follow me.
Ow! That hurt. Ow!
We have to beat a 20, so we have to actually draw a 20. Bernard's interrogation of the guards. Let's first rescue the animals that we made.
Is everything really over?
No, but
still
for
feel
this
like-
ending it is.
The relationship between Pierre and Bernard is not as simple as it appears.
We know.
Also, I've had this strange sense that something's off the entire time we've been
Don't
on the
have to rub it
case,
in my face.
and it has only gotten worse. Ugh,
Oh, jeez.
no
Oh,
good.
no.
I've still got nothing, and I'm nearly out of energy.
Don't force yourself. Just like Lenny and the others.
All right, I'll stop thinking about it for now. At the very least, we've made it so that no more animals will suffer like those poor animals did. And that's what I hope. Let's go to the Humane Society and see if there are any animals left that might still need our help before my energy for today completely runs out.
And there's the ending. Okay. Save the kitty! The truth remains submerged in the dark undercurrents, yet hope already lies beyond the cage. Okay, good. That's not where I went. Okay. That's everything down that path, yes? Yep. Which means we need this. A decision. Right. We did get 3 choices here. Okay, just because I want to get this one quick. Alright, that didn't actually help. Okay, so it's when
I
the
didn't
cards
like
got
that.
spilled. Random.
Clearly, there's some design flaws to iron out. I'll have to let Fremine know. Let's see. 4. Well, the cards felt if you want to get the right answer. So, to put it another way, if picking. Or. Why don't you pick a card?
Alright.
Thank you. Here, take the fatometer. If it's 5 or above, that means fate successfully changed. Anything lower than 5 is a fail. Also, if you have your own.
Okay, so the first time we did the Fatometer, and it chose Let's Help Bonnie. So the other ones are do neither and go to the reception. I think this will be the quick ending. Go to the reception.
Back to the drinks reception.
I mean, clearly you don't want to go. You could just...
Nope, I said it was your decision. I'm not gonna waste any more energy dragging my feet. Besides, the drinks reception is technically part of the job as an official publicity event. So, if I bail on it,
You'll feel guilty inside.
I might get sued for breach of contract. And
Oh.
that would be a huge pain in the butt. One other thing. Do you want to come with me? If you're free, I mean.
Sure. Then you'll have at least one friend there.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
There you are, Lynette! Where did you disappear to? Leone and I have
Identical
been looking
twins.
everywhere for you. Wait, where did you get the cat?
Oh, Bonnie followed us in.
I found her outside. Do either of you happen to recognize her?
I don't think so. Could belong to one of the guests, I suppose.
Fair enough. It was a long shot.
So sorry we couldn't help you, Lynette.
Don't worry. We'll ask around for you. Leone's probably just being forgetful.
Maybe you could leave her with us. We'll take her to the reception desk and see if they know anything. And if not, we'll just keep looking.
Sure. I would help, but I'm a little preoccupied.
I feel like that voice
Sorry
would
to
be
dump this
better
on you.
used on one of the,
It's no trouble at all. We're happy to help however
they
we can.
called
Also,
little rabbit people.
if it's no trouble, I mean, could we maybe get an autograph? And maybe a photo too?
Leone, you can't spring that on her now. Not while she's working. At least wait until the event's finished. One last thing, Lynette. Director Mary is looking for you. We'll take the cat to the front desk now. See you later.
You're so popular.
I'm not usually required at these kinds of events, so I don't even have an event mode. Alright, guess I'd better go see the director.
Spectacular choreography, a masterpiece of mise en scène, and the performance, oh my, groundbreaking, dripping with, je ne sais quoi. My congratulations on another magnificent show, sir.
Yes, I, for one, was particularly captivated by the clearly allegorical narrative undertones. The Lost Puppet shines a spotlight on the impact of technological advances in our modern society, particularly as they
Did you
relate
answer
to
last name's
changing modes
Bouchon?
of emotional expression and the
gonna make
challenge
us
of
some
mutual
amazing
intelligibility.
chocolate art?
Such a pioneering work. So
I don't
far
really
ahead
care
of its
about
time.
talking over your
A
lines here,
tour
because
de
you're just
force
being
of
flamboyant.
avant-garde theater.
I can already see the
Baloney.
headlines of tomorrow's newspapers.
Sounds
They
more
will
like
certainly
baloney
be
to
singing
me.
your praise, Director Mariu.
But it was a group effort, of course. To convey emotions in a silent show with no facial expressions, the entire cast had to go above and beyond. Everyone truly outdid themselves.
Speaking of the cast, Jillian, another strong performance from you in Director Mariu's latest show, as of course we've all come to expect from your numerous successful collaborations to date.
That's quite an overstatement. I've only ever played supporting roles.
On that point, you stated a few months ago in an interview that you were looking to secure a leading role in your next show. What led you to the decision to stay in a supporting role this time around?
We had a discussion about this, and while Lynette hadn't previously performed in an acting role, we were blown away by her talent, and she was a perfect fit for this character. Quite simply, this was the role she was born to play.
Exactly. I was honored to share the stage with her. Lynette worked extremely hard in all of the rehearsals, and she's an incredibly talented actress.
Yeah, no, she wanted the lead role, and Lynette took it from her by just being there.
Oh, Lynette's back!
Hey, Lynette, where have you been?
Were you in standby mode? Some reports say you switched.
Method acting, of course.
Those seemingly stilted movements were in fact an inspired portrayal.
Actually makes more sense to like skip midway
went
through each
outside
of
and
those.
there was this cat there, so...
A cat?
Cat.
We've long heard that you are a kind soul as well as an incredible actress.
This show looks on track to break box office records for avant-garde theater. Lynette, any words for the fans?
Not really, no.
I believe Lynette is trying to say.
Oh, I see.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
But don't you want the fans
yes,
to know
why
how
not?
you're
Let's
feeling
go.
right now? After the hugely successful opening of your first ever show?
That's true.
I'm sure the fans would love to learn a bit more about you, too.
How interesting.
Insight check. I think she found her event mode. Check success. Natural 20. Lynette's voice was so deadpan during the interview. She sounded like an auto-reply bot. Hold on. Lynette has only just finished performing. She needs to recharge.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry. How rude of me.
Huh? Wait, you're the traveler who's been in the news. Did you come to see the show?
Wow, are you a fan of Lynette too? Do you have any
Her
comments on
friend.
her first performance?
You and Lynette struggled to keep up as you both inundated with questions. While the crowd dissipates. You alright?
Yeah, it's just... Turns out, even with you here to share the load, I can't cope with this stuff, even in Tea Party mode. It's a power-saving mode for participating in conversation at tea parties. Normally, I can get through an entire conversation just with, Oh, that's true. And how interesting.
Yup, I knew it.
But at a tea party, I'm not normally subjected to a constant stream of questions. The energy consumption of that interview just now was 3 times as much as the average tea party.
It's a big adjustment. Give it some time. Maybe after a few more, you'll get used to it.
I think I'd rather pray that I never have to do it again.
Lynette, Director Mariu would like you to join the group photo to commemorate the successful opening of the show.
A group photo?
I mean, that's pretty easy.
It's just the members of the troupe, along with Maloney and Corentin. Everyone's waiting for you.
Alright then. See you in a minute.
3, 2, 1, smile.
My thanks to each and every one of you here for your help in making The Lost Puppet a success. The group photo is already being printed as I speak. You can collect your copy from the first floor after the drinks reception concludes. May it serve as a reminder of this fabulous performance every time you see it.
Mariu! Get over here. Let's have another drink. There's a few things I need you to glance over for me.
Wait, that means the reception still isn't over?
I thought the group photo was the final hurdle. Well, at least there's no more people hounding me with questions. I just need to find somewhere to switch to standby mode, and the time will fly by. I hope.
It's not done yet? Jeez. I expected this to be the quicker route, but I think we may have taken the other one. Wait.
Hotel
Farina!
Doors Ile Flottante is as wonderfully sweet as ever.
Farina, you managed to get an invite to the drinks reception too?
Traveler? Lynette? Oh, wait, hold on. What do you mean, managed to get an invite? I'm an expert in the dramatic arts. Of course I was invited. Naturally, people wanted to hear my comments on the emerging art form that is the masked mime show.
So then, what'd you think?
Remarkable, and a very worthwhile artistic endeavor, exploring a character with no lines or facial expressions who can only communicate how they feel through their movement. Your performance was beyond anything I could have imagined, Lynette. Clearly, this was a very suitable role for you indeed.
You seem to hear a sound. Listen closely, you can hear some small noise coming from that corner.
Is something wrong?
No, it's nothing. Please go on.
Oh, basically, I think I'd give it a positive review overall, just not as gushing as the crowd downstairs.
So, you thought they were pretty over the top too?
In fairness, it's normal to bring along some vocal supporters for publicity when a new show opens, but still, this was something else. Then again, I'm no specialist in avant-garde theater.
Avant-garde.
Maybe I'm just not well acquainted with their review criteria. Or maybe it's because I came to the show with some preconceived expectations. I did happen to see the original draft of Mariu's script a while back.
What original draft?
Oh? He didn't show it to you? It must have been a few months ago. He came to me to get some advice from an experienced performer's perspective, and then asked if I could write a few reviews of his new play. I had a lot on my plate at the time, so I had to turn him down. I only skimmed a few sections, but they seemed quite different from the final version. I can't say I remember the plot, but I don't know. The protagonist just seemed more complex, I guess, especially in the last 2 scenes. Still a mechanical puppet on the outside, of course, but she seemed to have more emotional depth on the inside.
In the script or in the final version?
Emotional depth?
Oh, I'm just thinking aloud here. Don't take it to heart. Besides, a script and a play are two very different beasts. There are so many fine details to consider when turning a story into a stage production. More than most people could imagine. Especially with a novel art form like a masked mime show. I'm sure Mary had his reasons for the changes he made. Change of topic. I see you've escaped the crowds to seek refuge on the second floor. Fame can be overwhelming at first, can't it? Perhaps you'd benefit from hearing about the experiences of a veteran celebrity such as myself.
No thanks, I'm good. Pretty sure this will be my first and last time in this situation.
Hey, at least let me finish. I have top tips on dealing with belligerent reporters, slipping away to hunt down snacks during the intermission.
Tell me everything.
Yeah, I'm like, oh wait, no, that's stuff she'd want to hear.
First, take a seat, mon ami. We must partake of Hotel de Boer's fine desserts as we talk, lest they go to waste.
The three of you enjoy some delectable treats.
That was very educational.
Educational isn't the word I'd use. They didn't mention acting once in the whole conversation.
I expect most of the people downstairs have left by now. Time to grab my copy of the group photo and get home.
Heard something. This way? The way it displayed it in the cutscene. But it was down this way.
The photo must be in this envelope right here. It's finally over. Thank you for sticking around for so long. If it wasn't for you, I don't know how I would have standby moded my way through the last few hours.
Any normal person would find an event like this stressful, but enough to warrant Lynette leaving halfway through? When you left the event midway, what was the real reason? I mean, if you really don't want to talk about it...
It's fine. It's just... It was such a minor thing. While I was on stage, there was a moment when I felt like someone was looking at me. It was only for an instant, and I didn't even see who it was. But somehow, I knew it was a look of contempt. I got a vague sense of it again during the reception. Like someone was giving me an evil stare. But I couldn't figure out who it was.
You recall something regarding Lynette? Few people would manage to hide their feelings from Lynette at closer range. Whoever it was, they must be a good actor. Oh, it's the girl from before. It's gotta be. The one who very obviously wanted the lead role, and then it was given to Lynette.
Normally, I'm used to lurking in the shadows on the stage and spying on other people. So, it was strange, feeling like I was the one being spied on this time.
Does it have something to do with the original script Farina mentioned? Or maybe someone's jealous of you? You did land a leading role in your first show.
Or someone just took a disliking to me for no real reason. Sometimes you can like one person and dislike another for equally pointless reasons. Anyway, it was just a momentary stink eye, that's all. Nothing for you to worry about.
Okay, well, if you're not worried, I'm not worried.
Okay, problem solved. I'm gonna take this envelope and go home now.
Yeah, called it. You heartless puppet! You've ruined this work! Hand over the role of lead actress immediately! What? It's a threat letter!
You have destroyed this work of art. Step down from the leading role at once. Based on the tone, I'd say threat letter is right.
This is This is far more serious than a momentary stink eye. You get to the bottom of it. Yep, there we go. Think back to what was happening on the first floor when we were taking some time out. A lot of people downstairs at the time. Any one of them could have sold the letter in the envelope. All the envelopes were left on a table on the first floor, but nobody was tasked with watching them. It has reception, but it's unlikely they saw anything. Examine the letter, see if there's anything amiss. The unsealed envelope contains the group photo, the threat letter, and some photographs of Lynette from during the show. This was definitely meant for her. The letter demands that Lynette step down from the leading role, but stop short of saying what will happen if she doesn't. Neither of us recognize the handwriting. It's messy. Perhaps to cover the tracks? Or maybe this person just has messy handwriting.
I don't think we're gonna find any more clues here.
Shall we ask Mario what he makes of you have destroyed this work of art?
Yes, let's. Whatever destroyed means, it could have something to do with the original script that Farina mentioned. Also, I'm gonna have to ask you to stick around a while longer.
I'm invested now. Or at least the characters.
Ah, I can't believe how well the whole Lynette's debut acting role thing worked out. Even the avant-garde box office is lapping it up.
How could I ever have doubted you? If you hadn't stuck to your guns and kept sending those invitations, this opportunity would have passed us by.
See, I told you. All the times she'd refused in the past were all the more reason to keep inviting her, because it turns into a big talking point. Can you imagine if you'd gone with Jillian? You'd have been lucky to get half the ticket sales you've ended up with.
True. Well, Jillian still needs to get a few more productions under her belt.
He doesn't feel fully into what he's saying.
Do you have a moment, Director Mario?
If it isn't the star of the show. We were just talking about you. Oh, and is that the legendary traveler with you? I'm guessing you're here to discuss the show with the director? Oh, you're a talented and hardworking actress, Lynette. It's no wonder you're getting such rave reviews.
The gentleman's expression seems a bit unnatural. Despite his effusive words, the look in his eyes suggests he's not quite so delighted with Lynette's newfound stardom. I was hoping he would just go straight to her response, which is, "You leave."
I'll leave you artists to discuss your work in peace. Mario, make sure you give your star performer and her friend...
I certainly will. Lynette carries the fortunes of our entire troupe on her shoulders.
Really? Who's that?
Mr. Maloney. An investor or something, I think. I've never asked him.
So, what can I do for the two of you? I'm afraid I'll have to dash soon as I'm meeting some friends from the newspaper. Otherwise, I'd love to stay longer.
We won't take up too much of your time. Slams the letter down on the table.
We heard that the original script for The Lost Puppet was quite different from the final show. I'm kind of curious to know what the protagonist was like in that version.
Oh, well, this is a surprise. I didn't think you'd be interested in that sort of thing. It's not uncommon for scripts to undergo major changes as they're being brought to the stage. But I'm afraid there's not much to tell you in this case. The protagonist has stayed the same from the beginning to end.
Not according to
A
Farina.
mechanical puppet with a bumbling body but a sensitive soul. A stranger in time who doesn't belong. There's no doubt about it. You are the protagonist, and the protagonist is you. The success of one is the success of the other, and that's what made...
Sorry, you've lost me. Can you put it in plain words?
All right, then. Delving deep in the search of core truths is the job of an artist, after all. You shouldn't give your attention to early drafts of the script, Lynette. All it would do is sow confusion where you already have clarity. The current script is the final version because it is the best version, and your performance best brings that script to life. Why, if it weren't for you, I doubt any audience would give our show the time of day.
If everyone was happy with Lynette's performance, then how do you explain this letter?
What letter? Oh my goodness!
Yeah, we read it. Appears surprised. The expression is hard to read, but the surprise seems genuine.
Destroyed this work of art? Really?
Well, Director Mariu, any idea who might have written it?
No. Who on earth would write such nonsense?
We found it in the envelope containing the group photo. Could it be someone involved in the production?
Absolutely not. Without Lynette, this show would be over. Everyone's hard work would go to waste. No, there's no way that this is someone from the troupe.
Well, is there any way Lynette could lie low until this blows over?
Yeah, maybe Jillian could fill in for me for a while.
What? No way, out of the question. The protagonist has to be played by Lynette. Jillian can't... She's just not what the audience is looking for.
The change became a bit... Yeah, I could tell that. His eyes are darting around, he's lowering his voice so that Maloney doesn't hear.
Ah, I've got it. It's a competitor. Yes, this letter must be from a competitor of ours who's trying to get under Lynette's skin. You can't lie low. That's just what they want you to do. The moment you step back from performing,
From
they'll put their
Jillian, we
rumor
know
mill
this
into
already.
overdrive and drag us through the mud. They're just waiting for their chance to kick us while we're down.
A competitor? Really?
Definitely. Those lowlifes. Slander and libel are all their specialties. They drown out the truth with a flood of misinformation, and they stop at nothing once they get riled up.
You sound very familiar with their methods. Do you have a particular suspect in mind?
Oh, there's so many of them out there. Fame always seems to attract haters, no matter what you do to try and keep everyone happy. But don't worry, I will get to the bottom of this. Stay strong, Lynette, and keep up the good work on stage. I have to go and meet my friends from the newspapers now, but rest assured, I'll be discussing countermeasures with them.
So, a competitor, huh?
Do you think that's it?
I kinda doubt it. We've dealt with those types before. Usually their goal is to steal our venue for their own show, or to cover up a scandal by planting a story to divert public attention. But at the moment, I don't think anyone's got a reason to do any of that stuff. Let alone pull a stunt like this. A threat letter is quite extreme. Besides, when I felt that evil stare, I'm pretty sure it was coming from somewhere backstage. So that rules out a lot of people.
It's amazing that I called this one
about Mariu.
before it even started.
When I mentioned Jillian,
But with
his reaction was pretty unusual.
Yeah. But, the much bigger, storyline with the drug smuggling ring, that one actually took me a second to get. Or, no. It took me quite a bit to say it out loud correctly. I did suspect her for a while, I just didn't have enough to really go on. But this one, obvious from the beginning. So you noticed that too.
Especially since Maloney mentioned that the initial plan was to cast Jillian as the lead. Sounds like there was an original protagonist as well as an original script. I should probably go talk to her.
Know where she lives?
Yep. She told me she lives in the Fleuve Sandra.
It's still a bit strange to me that people just... It seems to be a normal thing to live in the sewers. Like it's just another part of town, but it still looks like this. People just live down there. It's like they decided they were going to, expand downward
Lynette?
instead of up.
What are you doing? You're not welcome here.
I've been to the Fleuve Sandra plenty of times before. This is the first I'm hearing about me not being welcome.
Things are different around here. You might be used to a crowd of bootlicking morons fawning over you wherever you go.
No, she hates
but not
that,
down
actually.
Here. We know what you are.
Bootlicking morons?
She's got a bone to pick with you, I guess.
I don't know. I've never met this kid before.
Gina, stop that! Go home now!
Jillian!
No buts. How many times do I have to tell you? That had nothing to do with Lynette. If you don't leave right now, I swear I'll never invite you to one of my shows ever again.
Jillian! I... Just because Lady Farina speaks highly of you, it doesn't mean you're all that.
Choice words from Gina. She storms off.
I'm so sorry. Gina's always been a strong-willed child. That's why I never let her visit me at work.
It's okay. I have younger siblings too, so I get it. She's in her rebellious phase, huh? If you let angsty kids get you riled up, they'll drain all your energy. So don't worry, I won't let it get to me.
Well, this situation's a little different in this case, but still, thank you. So, what brings you to the Fleuve Sandra?
We came to see you. We talked about the original protagonist.
We heard about it from Maloney. He said you were originally supposed to play the lead.
Maloney, huh? Of course he couldn't keep his mouth shut. I'm sorry. I never mentioned it because Director Mary was very clear that I mustn't let any of it affect you.
Circumstances have changed. Lynette received this letter.
What's this? I don't know, who would do something like this?
Don't be scared, Jillian. Just tell us what you know.
Okay, I'll try. It's true. I was originally cast as the lead in The Lost Puppet. I've worked with director Mary many times before.
Might have been Gina.
But only in minor roles. The audiences and critics never had much to say about me. Nothing terrible, but nothing amazing either. A few months ago, Mary started working on a new show, so I plucked up the courage to ask him if I could take the leading role. He was hesitant, but he agreed to let me try for the part. We did a few rehearsals, everything seemed to be going okay, but then...
Maloney.
There's been a change of plan, Jillian. The leading role will now be played by Lynette.
You didn't want to make this change either.
But she always turns these things down, doesn't she?
And that's why we cannot afford to waste this opportunity. Jillian, I understand how you must be feeling. But Maloney and myself have to do what's best for the production as a whole. Next time, the lead will be yours. I promise.
I was incredibly disappointed at first, but I also know full well that I don't have Lynette. Without Lynette, how could we ever convince people to pay money to go and see a masked mime show?
Okay, so I'm like, oh yeah, it's obvious it's Jillian, because she was the only option I saw. But then Gina shows up. Gina probably knew that... What is Jillian? Her older sister or something like that? Knew that she was in the lead role up until Lynette got cast and took it from her. And with how strong-willed she was right then, she probably wrote the letter. On the behalf of Jillian, who would never have actually said that, based on how she's acting now.
And if the show was a flop with me in the leading role, how would I answer to the director and the rest of the cast? Then, I got to meet you on stage and found that you're really down to earth, in a way that not many celebrities are. You were kind to everyone, and your performance wasn't bad. Whatever disappointment I had left at that point, I certainly wasn't about to take it out on you.
By wasn't bad, you mean it wasn't great either. So, I'm guessing Mariu changed the script to simplify the protagonist, make her a dumbed-down version of the mechanical puppet that I could actually play.
He did make some changes to the script, yes.
How do we get our hands on the original draft? Who currently has it?
Jaik, one of the other actors. He likes to collect Dr. Mariu's old drafts because he hopes to be a director himself one day. He also lives nearby. I can arrange for you to meet him at the tavern.
Makes sense. I always see him talking to Mariu. Alright, see you at the tavern then.
Okay. Some twists in here. Tavern for a while.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Jillian brought me up to speed on the situation. I'm here to help however I can. Here, this is the script you're after.
It's very rough. Looks like he was constantly editing it. Practically unreadable.
That's always the way with pen and paper drafts. Even the final script is full of last-minute changes by the director. There should be a cleaner copy of the original script in here somewhere. Sorry, it's all a bit mixed up. I just grabbed the whole stack of paper since I was in a rush.
No problem. Now activating search mode. I'll go through one page at a time.
Just say what you mean. No problems.
Oh, okay. Original script. Start with that. Let's see what differences there are between the current version of the Lost Puppet and the original script. There we go. Do it. I hate this font they chose for those numbers. Act 4 seems to be a solo performance by the protagonist, and the set is just some decrepit ruins. There's a note saying this will focus the audience's attention on the solo performance. Official scripts. That's 20, baby! 4, protagonist loses the ability to dance due to wear and tear in her circuitry. There's a note saying some cursory movements to get photographs will suffice. The audience's focus will be on the fancy set and the extras. So, the opposite. Newspaper clippings in amongst the notes. Their about shows of different styles. There's the first few pages that turn yellow, which means it must be gold. Affirmations of Mario. Ooh, that's not enough. The newspaper, none of them mention, the headlines mention. In recent years, there are many reports praising him as forward-thinking director with the greats of his era.
Just say what you mean.
When the reason it's so hard to read is it's been edited with correction fluid multiple times. I'd estimate that each line was rewritten at least 3 times. Looks like Mario wasn't happy with his edits. Old drafts. Older works, some photographs of the live performances. Yeah, not 20. We failed one of them. Photos from recent years show fancy venues and polished sets, but the earlier photos show much humbler versions of venues. The cast list shows that in recent years, Mario has collaborated with many famous celebrities, but their acting chops are disputed.
The protagonist returns to the ruins where she began and performs a dance in honor of her deceased companions. She dances until her joints have rusted stiff and mechanical parts are falling from her body. Yep, That's not something a novice could hope to pull off after just a few months of rehearsals.
She loses the ability to dance due to wear and tear in her circuitry. But there's much more emotion behind the scene. The memory for former companions can lead to peaceful relief. The simple set and solar performance means the lead actress has to carry the whole scene herself. It's a much more demanding role than the final script.
Frankly, I think that the original script is much better, and the original lead is the best fit. Jillian, shall I go tell Mariu to put you back in the leading role?
What? Are you serious? But the next show is at the Opera Epiclese. It's such a huge opportunity.
But not such a rare one for me, though, right?
That's different. This isn't you as part of a magic duo. It's a chance to star as the main character in a show. You'll reach whole new heights of fame.
Doesn't want that.
Fame in small doses has its perks, but too much and I'll get overloaded. But if you play the lead, the fame will be yours, and I get to be free. Sounds like a win-win, don't you think?
It'll never work. There's no way Director Mariu or Maloney would ever agree to it. The set for Act 4 would need to change, as would all the marketing materials. And that would mean asking Maloney for a lot more Mora. Changing actors at the last minute is just too risky. If anything went wrong, it could bankrupt the whole troupe. Plus, Maloney's friends have already published a ton of articles saying how this is the role that Lynette was born to play. No one else can play the protagonist now. If Lynette quit the show and I took her place,
it would destroy the reputations of Maloney's friends. None of their future articles would have any credibility.
If Lynette left,
I don't know, I
they'd
like the
stop
sound of
the
that.
whole show, then let me take her place.
Stop the whole show? But all the people in the troupe, months and months of everyone's hard work would all be for nothing.
Wonder Mario will say anything to try and keep Lynette on board. Convincing him to replace the lead actress won't be easy. Contemplation. Is there any other way? Please let me succeed. Oh, we cannot fail this role. Yeah. Gets it. Judging from those documents, Mario's true intention seems to be... I have an idea.
You do? What is it?
All we need to do is this. You explain your idea to the group.
That's a bold plan. I'm in.
You know, it's a little crazy, but it might actually work.
No way. It's not worth taking such a huge risk just for a chance to be in the spotlight.
Jillian, you said before, whatever disappointment I had left, I wasn't about to take out on you. In other words, that disappointment is still there, but you've kept it bottled up inside. Be honest. You still hope to play the leading role, don't you?
But the thought of putting so many people out just for my sake?
You think they'd be put out? That's not how I see it.
Jillian, you were more dedicated than anyone during the rehearsals for the original script. We all saw how hard you worked for this role. And I think you know that unless we decide to make a stand here, the path we're on is only going to take us further and further from our dreams, all of us. So take it from me, you would not be putting us out. Not one bit.
Whether the plan succeeds is up to you.
You guys... Okay. Let's do it. I will play my part.
Yes! I knew you'd come around. All right, I'll let the rest of the troupe know and we'll start preparing immediately.
Wonderful. This solves everything.
Wait, but what about the threat letter? Do you have any idea who sent it?
As long as we stick to the plan, I'll give up the lead role, so it won't matter anymore, right?
But surely you want to know who it's from. If they're out there and no one's keeping an eye on them, what if they come looking for you?
I doubt they will. It's supposed to be a threat, but they didn't even say what would happen if I don't meet their demands. Plus, the handwriting is kinda childish.
Gina.
Doesn't look like a professional intimidator to me. Who knows? Maybe it was just a fan of yours having a moment.
A fan? Of me?
Maybe there's someone out there who really appreciates your talent, even in the supporting roles.
We have to roll for it? That's a 10. Fuck. Damn it. There's any solid evidence except all the insults she was throwing at her.
It's getting late. We should be leaving. Come on.
That's why I don't like making me roll for things in conversations when we have heard something.
I'm such an idiot.
Sorry for manhandling you. You looked like you were seconds away from figuring out who sent the letter, so I had to act fast.
Actually, I have no idea.
It was Gina, Jillian's sister.
Right? I had an idea, the Traveler didn't.
Just because Lady Farina speaks highly of—
I'm so sorry. Gina's...
Farina hasn't released her official review of The Lost Puppet yet, which means Gina disobeyed her sister and secretly came to watch her work.
I guess she must have snuck into the drinks reception and overheard our conversation with Farina. She idolizes Jillian, both as an older sister and an actress, and she watched as the dream role Jillian had been waiting to play for so long got snatched away from her by some amateur who's never acted before. To make matters worse, all the critics were hailing this amateur as a perfect fit for the role, and even Fontaine's former biggest star was praising her abilities.
It was too much for her to take. She wrote the letter in a fit of anger.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums it up.
Aren't you going to confront her about it?
Like I said, getting angry at angsty teenagers is draining. Besides, if it was my younger brother or sister and they found out I'd been treated unfairly or had an opportunity stolen from me, they'd definitely do something far worse.
I can imagine.
I was in Jillian's position once. Back when Linny and I were starting out, before we got famous, we just had to take things a day at a time. Doing our shows, slowly trying to build up our reputation. So I can understand Gina's frustration. Still, she could definitely use some pro tips on how to write a threat letter.
No wonder she's so hostile towards you. She must have been the one giving you that evil stare, right?
No, the way she looks at me is indignant, frustrated, but not malicious. Plus, she didn't even try to hide how she felt. Whoever was giving me that evil stare was backstage. Blending into the crowd at a drinks reception is one thing, but trying to blend in backstage, where everyone's on high alert waiting to be called on stage, would be a lot more difficult. We'll find out who it is before too long. In 2 days' time, at the next show, I think it will become very clear. On that note, guess I'll see you at the Opera House. Bye for now.
Hey, 2 days later, she said see us at the Opera House, so we're just gonna go there first. 16, huh? Check the achievements after. That's a nice view. That tree all the way over in Sumeru. Oh, 2 days later. Clouds just appeared in the sky, and then... How often the clouds actually change? Check if this new update updated this as well. It did! Fontaine, Doosan. We finally fully upgraded this. They finally unlocked from 40 to 50. Hydro Sigil shop unlocked. Amazing. It's a furnishing that's the big fountain in town. Hey, we got that done. First of all, Avatar. Wait, hold on. What? I've never seen a notification here. Oh, these are new. These are all specific world quests. Like major world quests. And they start in Inazuma. We got stuff from Sumeru. And here in Fontaine. And then Genuvel. This must be the new story quest we just got, but no, it'll be the world quest that unlocks the new area. Huh, interesting. I was expecting to go here, because we just unlocked this. Alright. We'll grab this while we're here. Peaceful tea party with Lynette after solving the smuggling case. Oh, and that's all. That's right. What? What else did I get? Oh, right. Right, we haven't been able to do that, but they should give me enough hydroculi in the new area to do so. At the end of stream. Though not the main secondary one.
Oh, you're here! Lynette and Jillian are busy getting ready, so please come with me.
Shortly after following Jacques to the Opera House, the curtains open. Act 1, in the ruins. So do we actually get to see it?
In the middle.
Oh, sort of.
Is that Lynette? She's so pretty.
It's starting. Keep your voice down.
The protagonist, Dancer, abandoned in some ruins. She suspects it's because of a health condition with her legs, which has affected her ability to dance. But then she finds the other abandoned puppets who look just like her. Only then does she realize her illness is just a mechanical breakdown. She is just a dancing puppet.
Wow, I thought it would be hard to follow, but in the end it was actually very clear.
Even though her face was expressionless and she didn't speak the whole time, I felt like I could really understand how the protagonist was feeling.
Act 2, The Journey. Some mechanical puppets believe in a myth. At the end of the world, there is a god of puppets who can turn the puppets into human beings. And so, the protagonist and her companion began their quest. But the myth is a lie, spread by someone with nothing but contempt for puppet kind. At the end of their journey, they are kidnapped, dismantled, melted down, and abused. The protagonist helped her companions escape, but in the process became trapped under the rubble of a crumbling building. She closes her eyes and enters into a deep sleep.
Director Mariu really is a master of his craft. And so is the actress in the lead role.
I have a friend who saw the show on the opening day. They thought the critics overstated how good it was, but I gotta say, the protagonist is incredible.
I can't believe it's only been a few days since the last show. Lynette's improved so much. Just wow! I'm speechless. Words simply cannot do justice to the sheer excellence we witnessed from Lynette on stage today.
I should have called this out beforehand, but now I'm realizing, wait. I've connected the dots here. It's a masked protagonist. It's a masked mime show. Faces covered, no voice. Of course they can just put someone else in the lead role without anyone noticing. Of course they can.
Your penchant for the hyperbolic
That's
strikes
Jillian
again,
up there,
Almery.
obviously.
Clearly you weren't at a loss for words when you were writing your article. I saw you hand it to the journalist. Trying to get your critique into the papers the moment the show is over, are you?
Well, you know how it is. The early critics get all the readers. Wouldn't you agree, Mary?
No, they get the first one.
What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? The first half was a huge success. Even I could tell the acting was top tier.
My apologies, Mr. Maloney. Please excuse me for a second. I need to have a little talk with my actors.
Oh, very well. Hey, while you're at it, this might be a good time to talk future.
Let's go.
Are you guys sure this is gonna work? What if Director Mariu pushes back? We're already halfway there. We can't back out now. All we need to do is stick to the plan.
What is this plan that you're so intent on hiding from me,
Director Mariu, I thought you were talking to Maloney and the critics.
Corantan and Armory have both finished their articles. I went to greet them as a mere formality, but you seem to have availed yourselves of my absence during the first half to defy me. What have you done? Was that really Lynette playing the lead role?
Well done, director. You saw through it.
Ta-da!
You're the only one. Mirio hears Lynette's voice behind him. Beside her is the protagonist.
Director Mariu?
without costume or mask.
I was the one playing the lead role just now.
I switched costumes and masks with Jillian so that I could be the protagonist's companion and stay out of the limelight.
Lynette, why on earth would you do this?
You know my acting is amateur. The only reason I'm being seen as a pro, let alone a pioneer, is because you have critics supporting the show.
Right now, there's a whole audience out there, and you have no hope of paying them all off.
If they'd seen me in the leading role during the first half, they wouldn't be expecting anything more. But what happens now that they've seen Jillian in the role? If you force me to play the lead in the second half, they'll be wondering, why is the actress suddenly giving such an underwhelming performance right at the climax of the whole story?
Is it because she's not a good enough actress to play the role? Or is this director not always cracked up to be? Were the critics wrong?
These are just some of the questions that will be on everyone's minds during the second half. And those questions will follow them out the doors of the theater after the show ends.
Do you think the critics will still have any credibility then?
There's only one way for you to save your reputation, and that's to keep Jillian as the lead all the way to the end.
Absolutely not. I'd sooner announce that we're having technical difficulties and need to stop the show. If I keep Jillian as the lead for the second half, what do you think will happen in the curtain call when she takes her mask off? Everyone will see that we've changed actors. What will your fans think? They're only here because of you, and what about all the critics who support you? If we get on the wrong side of them, it'll be the death of the whole show. There'd be tickets to refund, fines to pay for breach of contract. The whole troupe's hard work would go down the drain. Don't you see how much this would cost us? You can't just take a job on a whim, then abandon your responsibility the moment you don't feel like doing it anymore. You're playing games with other people's hopes and dreams.
You do realize
Mariu, please.
everyone
You're
is
not being
supporting
fair
our
to
side,
Lynette.
right?
Actually, Jillian, he's half right. I did kind of take this on a whim, but my responsibility here is making sure you get back the role that belongs to you.
And I guess part of that responsibility lies with me, considering I badgered you into accepting the job.
Look who finally decided to show up. Bring all your props.
Sorry I'm a little late to the show. Work's been keeping me pretty busy lately.
Yeah, we know.
Really?
We're stopping a drug smuggling ring.
You want? Do you think you can snap your fingers and make all my problems magically disappear?
Actually, yes.
That might be a little tricky, but instead, I could make something else magically appear.
What's this?
A draft complaint letter, my contract, your legal fees, reimbursement for the tickets, and an advance on the penalty fee for breach of contract. Mr. Mariu, I'm stepping down from the leading role, regardless of whether you choose to cancel the rest of today's show.
If you do suffer unforeseen financial losses from this, you're free to seek damages as per the contract. And if you want to file a lawsuit, there's a draft here that you can use if you need it.
I can't believe this. You're literally handing me a lawsuit against you with a straight face. Of
Because we don't expect you to
all
use
this,
it.
Mora, it's a pittance to you, isn't it? Must be nice to have the luxury of prior success and fame. Look at us. We're huge stars. One minute we want to go on stage. The next we feel like backing out of the contract. But that's okay. We're famous. We can afford it. You have no respect for other people's work. You're treating other people's hopes and dreams like a big joke.
You're the
You
only
don't
one
give a
mad
hoot
here.
how much this show means to other people. You don't even care that the whole production might have to shut down because of you.
That's not true. I do care. And I'm under no illusion as to how much this show means to you.
Oh, brilliant deduction there. Of course it means a lot to me. This is my show. That's the only reason I asked you to be in it in the first place.
Really? Then why do your eyes tell a different story? The way you look at me.
Oh, he will.
It's full
Really?
of contempt. Almost as if I've destroyed your work of art.
Ah, so it was Mariu. He's the one who was looking at Lynette with contempt. I actually didn't see that coming.
What?
Especially being that
I
that's
would
surprise.
never think that.
Genuine.
A couple days ago, I asked some associates to do some digging for me. I was interested to know who else you invited to play the lead apart from Lynette. Surprise, surprise. Turns out that all the other famous actresses you asked either had prior commitments or weren't a good fit for the role. They all turned you down.
And I would have turned you down too, if not for an unlikely set of coincidences.
You didn't send those invitations because you were looking for a better actress than Jillian, but because your investor wanted a big name in your show, right?
Director Mariu.
Clear as day that Jillian is an outstanding actress. But fame was the key factor, and that was the one thing she didn't have.
To get Maloney on your side, you chose to make Jillian the understudy, and then look for an opportunity for her to take the lead.
But then, Lynette actually accepted your invitation. And her acting debut was sure to attract attention.
I bet you were torn at first, weren't you? Do you stick to the tried and tested formula? Choose Lynette, use her celebrity to get the critics on your side so that you and your investors can line your pockets?
Or do you choose Jillian, so that you and your longtime collaborator can stage the show of your dreams, the original, unedited version of The Lost Puppet?
Whether you did it because of pressure from your investors or because you were lured in by the money, ultimately, you betrayed yourself by choosing Lynette.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't betray myself.
You mentioned prior success and fame earlier, but you're a well-known director yourself, with countless works to your name. Wouldn't that make you successful too? Or maybe, deep down, none of your current achievements really count as success to you.
Right now, you have an opportunity to send Jillian onto that stage and perform the second half as you always imagined it, faithful to your original script. Your work would be displayed for all of Fontaine to see in its true, perfect form.
Did you say perfect?
You keep pursuing kind of success you don't even value at the cost of your own artistic integrity?
Or will you act now before Maloney and the critics can protest and make your dream come true on the stage? and Jillian's dream. In fact, the dreams of the whole troupe.
The whole troupe?
Director Mariu? Actually, most of the money Lenny brought came from us. We all chipped in.
We've worked with you for many years now. Your troupe has been here for you all the way from the empty theaters where we first performed to the Opera House today. We watched as you slowly started down a path you used to despise, the path of powerful connections, drinks receptions, backdoor deals with critics, and collaborations based on fame instead of talent.
But this is just a temporary measure. I did it for the good of the troupe. And besides, this is how the whole industry works. Everyone else is doing it.
Yes, we know. Back when you started, you had to bite the bullet and do these things to keep the troupe afloat. But then what happened? You began to embrace these methods more and more, becoming so reliant on them that every show you put out is overhyped by the media, and every script you write is edited to suit some celebrity's needs. Surely you must have noticed what's happening. While we've been performing at bigger and bigger theaters with each show, the applause is getting quieter and quieter each night, and the criticism from people who've seen the show is growing. Maloney's friends are sycophants. They don't care if the audience is disappointed because the show doesn't live up to their glowing reviews. They praise the things they like and skirt around the things they don't.
Look, I know everyone's using the same promotional tactics, but does that really make it okay?
Well, it's just a stopgap solution. As soon as I've made enough Mora, I'll stop. Things will be different next time. I promise.
Next time, huh? Yeah. Next time, you won't use your connections. Next time, you won't pay off the critics. Next time, you'll let Jillian play the lead.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. If you make some money once, you'll want to do it again, then again. Slowly but surely, you turn your back on your dreams.
I won't turn my back on my dreams any longer, Director Mariu. Never again.
Me neither.
Oh, we need to do a persuasion check for this? Today's the day. It's time to live your dreams. Oh, wow. Okay, so... it's 10, 18, 21, 24. Yeah, we could get a 1 and still. There's a 10, so here's 34.
I had dreams too. What?
Act 3. An unknown period of time elapsed before a group of mechanical puppets finally cleared the rubble, free the protagonist, and reactivate her. They told her, "You have been buried here for thousands of years. The mechanical puppets now rule the world." It turned out that the puppets who'd started the uprising were none other than the protagonist's companions, whom she had rescued all those years ago. The protagonist was now revered as a hero by all puppet kind. The mechanical puppets asked the protagonist what she wishes for, and she only wishes for one thing.
Huh. The plot here seems a little different from what the reviews said.
The protagonist wanted to return to the stage, so the puppets replaced all her parts with the latest ones available, built her a grand opera house, and summoned a huge audience.
And in the end, she forgot herself amidst the applause and cheers of her fellow puppets.
Hey, no spoilers. Huh? Wait, hang on, that's not even what's happening. The set has changed back to the one from the first act.
Oh, Archons, please let this work out.
No need to be so nervous, Director Mariu. We only told you Lynette would be quitting the show to get you to make a decision. We wanted you to believe that this show would have to end after today, no matter what you decided. But in truth, I believe that if we choose our words carefully, there's no reason we can't get Maloney to come around and keep the show going.
And he is putting his experience at fooling people to work. You two should definitely keep in touch.
You really thought this plan through. But I'm not upset about what you've done. What's worrying me now isn't how Maloney will react or whether the show will get cancelled. It's the audience. I've always thought the original script is better, but will it move them like I've always hoped? When Jillian does her curtain call, will they applaud her? What if people only came to see the show for Lynette? And because of the reviews, what if they don't really care about the show at all? It feels like I've been hiding inside my safe little castle for too long. And now I'm scared to go outside the walls and hear what people really think.
We're right here with you. We'll watch it to the end.
Act 4. Amidst the Ruins original script. The protagonist rejects the other puppets' offer of new parts in a grand stage built in her honor. Her only wish is to see her companions again. She is told they give their lives to the revolution. Their bodies lie buried in the ruins where they first met. The protagonist returns to the ruins alone, to where her journey first began. She performs one last dance before the graves of her companions. Her circuitry burns out. Her parts come loose and fall from her body, but she keeps dancing until her body completely shuts down. It has taken her thousands of years, but at last, she has finally found a reason for dancing.
Wow. Okay, this ending is much better.
I love how they brought back the set from Act 1 and gave it a
can see her
whole
hair.
new meaning. What a fantastic twist. Time for the curtain call. It's the moment of truth. The applause continue after I take off the mask. I could always leave my mask on. No one would ever know.
Take them off. Ovation, mostly.
This is what fame looks like, when it's truly deserved.
Jillian, you were amazing! Syra was tearing up when you did your final solo dance.
Well, so are you.
Really? I was so nervous. My legs felt like they turned to jelly.
What looked like an actor unsteady on her feet was in fact a poignant expression of the protagonist's frailty in her last moments. Or whatever.
Oh no, I can't take any more of that.
Hey, Mario! What the heck was that? Why wasn't Lynette playing the lead?
Our articles are already going to press. You better have a good explanation for this.
It was my...
Hey now, it was all of our...
Hold on. The decision was mine, and mine alone. They had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, everything to do with it.
If you have any concerns, gentlemen, then please direct them to me.
Marry you? So it was you? Well then, I trust you'll have no objection to me pulling the plug on this production.
His worst fear is coming true. Time for Act 5.
Director Mariu, Mr. Maloney, what on earth is going on? Why was Lynette not in the lead role? It took a lot of convincing from me for her to accept the role, and I had to turn down some big work opportunities to come and watch her performance today. You have some explaining to do.
Lenny, it was all his idea. Mariu, explain yourself.
Wait, Blinny, as a matter of fact, this was a piece of performance art. In this play, the masks and costumes serve to obscure the differences between characters, and by extension, the difference between human and machine. We took that idea to the next level with an actor swap, blurring the lines between one performer and the next. So it's in service of the ambitious artistic goals of the production.
What?
It's similar to deceiving the audience in a
Not
magic
used to having
show.
your own language turned
We
against you?
employed this technique as a means of breaking the fourth wall. It allows the audience to more intuitively understand the cognitive dissonance felt by the protagonist as a machine trying to reconcile the notion of her humanity. The audience's experience mirrors the protagonist's own confusion and becomes part of the artistic performance itself.
Hold up. What is this nonsense?
Oh, I see. Well, bravo, Director Mariu. You even had me fooled.
That's probably more because you just don't really understand avant-garde art very well, Lenny.
Maybe so, maybe so. Well, perhaps it went over my head, but I'm sure our experts here saw the whole thing coming a mile away.
And passing the buck.
You must have worked it out by the end of the first half, surely. Mr. Amory, I just heard that you managed to write your review after just the first 2 acts.
I'm sure that will help Director Mario by setting future audiences up for the surprise twist at the end.
Yes, you're right. Director Mariu and I are old friends. You should have said something. Then I could have played along even better.
Yes, well, to deceive the audience, you must first deceive your closest companions. I have to give credit to Lynette and her experience in performing magic. That's what inspired me to take my art to the next level.
You mean your show was partly inspired by Lynette's background in magic? Well, in that case, I'll have to plug it to everyone I know.
Unfortunately, I think Mr. Maloney is going to cancel the show.
Cancel the show? Mr. Maloney, is this true?
While I accept that deceiving the audience in the manner you did certainly has artistic merit, this is not a magic show, and we don't want our audience demanding their money back.
A very valid criticism, and one that I humbly accept. If that happens, we're prepared to reimburse and apologize to any audience members who weren't satisfied with the experience.
But based on their reaction today, I think that what most people want to see is an excellent piece of theater, and not celebrity cameos.
Plus, it looks like Jillian is better than me at delivering the excellence people want to see. I'm sure audiences will be very happy with the show if she's allowed to stay in the leading role.
Some reviews have said that Lynette's gave the performance of the year. Wouldn't you say Jillian's was her performance of a lifetime?
Maloney, I believe there should still be time to tweak my article. From the look on Lynette's face, I think she's being sincere.
Oh, one other thing. We managed to get a meeting with Lady Farina earlier. All thanks to the Traveler's reputation, of course. Anyway, she agreed to write a review focusing on Jillian's performance and the quality of the show as a whole. She promised to give her honest opinion. And I'm sure today's audience will be discussing her performance too. There's sure to be a variety of opinions.
But what about you, Mr. Corrington? How would you rate this show?
Oh, I mean, art at its finest, clearly. But I'll have to give it some thought before I decide exactly what to write.
Oh, good! You're
of
actually
course.
going to think!
Always good to put some thought into these things. Especially now, with a growing range of voices out there. I imagine competition for readers becomes more fierce when everyone's discussing the topic.
Quarantine, Amory, let's go.
A sour-faced Maloney leaves with the critics in tow. You and Lenny excuse yourself to leave, and you can't read the rest because it goes too quick. Right? That's pretty cool.
Gina? You snuck in? When? I thought I told you no visiting me at work.
I'm sorry, Jillian, but I had to come.
Thank you both so much. Without the two of you, who knows how much further down that cynical path I would have gone. I always told myself that once I'd made enough Mora, I'd get back to doing what I loved. But somewhere along the way, I started to lose sight of what that was. Just like those critics with their dishonest reviews, I became all about the trappings of success, at the expense of the art itself.
At least you came to your senses just in time. And you've got an amazing group of talented people behind you.
You're right. Yes, I'm a very lucky man. Anyway, enough about my problems. What are we going to do about the threat letter that Lynette received? I've been looking into it a lot over the past couple of days, but it doesn't seem like it was one of our competitors after all.
Ah, yes, about that.
You were just the glare.
Lynette, do you
Yep, it's Gina.
have a moment?
Wait, you're Jillian's sister, right?
I'm sorry. Gina insisted on coming to see Lynette. I couldn't stop her.
Lynette, I'm sorry.
Lynette just shot me a glance. I think she's unsure which mode to use in this situation. Wait and see how things play out? Or a performance check? I think this might actually be a split. I'll take the wait and see first.
That letter? I was the one who wrote it.
What?
Gina? So it was you?
Yep. We called it a while ago.
Director, it's time for... Oh, okay. Weird energy here.
I think we came at a bad time.
I think you did.
Lynette, Gina must have been worried sick about me. I'm sure even she wouldn't do something so stupid if she was in her right mind. I'm so sorry. I promise I'll make it up to you somehow.
Jillian, no! This is completely my fault, and I'm the one who should have to bear the consequences. I got the wrong end of the stick and completely misjudged Lynette.
Shall we hear what Lynette has to say?
Well, since I haven't actually suffered any losses, seeking redress could be difficult. Maybe we could just let this one slide?
Really? Are you sure?
After all, Gina wouldn't be the first person to ever misjudge me. Right?
True. True.
In any case, I think we can all agree it was a misunderstanding and nothing more. No need to overcomplicate things.
But still, I was wrong to write that letter. I should own up to my actions, make it up to you in some way.
She seems pretty insistent. Kids at this age really are stubborn.
If that's what you really want, then how about helping out backstage?
Huh? Backstage?
The crew could always use an extra hand. Plus, it'll give your older sister a chance to keep an eye on you and stop you getting into any more trouble.
Thank you, Lynette. Really, thank you so much.
No. Whirlwind of events finally resolved. A few days later, you once again make your way to... here. You are finally awake. Show's about to start.
Is it? I'm so much more at home here in the audience. I get to sit on a comfy seat, and I don't have to activate my energy-consuming modes all the time.
Sounds like Gina got more than she bargained for out of that backstage job. You gave her your supporting role in the play, too.
Mary, you said she's
What?
a very promising young actress.
You what
and
now?
she has natural chemistry with her older sister. In their capable hands, the show doesn't need me to attract an audience anymore. Phew. Freedom at last.
Don't you feel even a little bit disappointed? Fame was right around the corner.
Fame is more trouble than it's worth. I'd rather leave that side of things to my brother and the others. I'm happiest when I get to sit in a quiet place, watch them do their thing, and cheer them on.
Like you're doing now?
Yep, exactly like I'm doing now.
Here we go. A seat in the audience. Where there is someone performing on stage, there will be others clapping in the audience. Okay. Amazing. Also, we don't get to... Oh, wait, no, this is one of the ones we Okay. That's 3 out of 5. Now, I thought we were going to be going for this and get a real quick one. So I think it was that choice we just saw. Let's do that first. Yeah. We'll do that, then we'll head back and get that other ending. And I want to get them in the stream tonight, even though we are well past the time I would normally end. Not well past, only a little bit past. It shouldn't take too long to get these two. And then tomorrow we'll do the new story
Thank you both
quest.
so much. Without the two of you, who knows how much further down that cynical path I always told my... Just like those critics, you're right. Anyway, I've been looking...
Ah, yes.
I'm sorry.
Lynette.
Try this. What are you talking about? Lynette's cooperation performance +5. We only need a 6, so anything we pick, we'll get it.
Yeah, me neither.
Wait. But...
Oh, do you mean when we ran into you at the Fleuve Sandra? And you said some mean things to me? As I recall, you were only trying to look out for your sister. It was just a few words spoken in anger. Don't worry. Whatever it was you said, I've already forgotten.
Oh. I see. Well, it sounds like Gina knows what she did was wrong. Owning up to your mistakes and committing to do better in the future is what counts.
I understand that feeling of wanting to stand up for your family when they're being mistreated. Really, I do. But next time, maybe consider a different tactic? Something you can pull off more effectively, and without arousing suspicion.
Alright, that's enough. Stop giving your ideas.
Got it. Thank you, Lynette.
Why do I feel like I'm missing something here?
Don't worry about it.
Hey, here you are. I was wondering where you'd all run off to.
No weird
Great.
energy this
Everyone's
time.
in one place. That makes this so much easier.
Group picture.
What do you think? It's group photo time. We have to commemorate the debut of the Lost Puppet Director's Edition. Okay,
yeah.
everyone, we all have pretty awkward smiles on our faces in the photo from Hotel de Boer, so this time, no forced smiles allowed.
Oh, am I really not allowed to force a smile?
Smiling tough for you?
I'll try, I suppose. I think I can manage.
Lynette, Traveler, come on. You two should be right in the middle.
3, 2, 1, smile!
There it is. Alright. A roaring success. Line of sight was a little bit off. It's fine if fine as long as you're smiling. Okay, that was quick. Now we get the other quick one. That's not what I said. Right. Now, hopefully this one will lead directly into an ending. By the looks of how it went. I was hoping to have gotten it earlier. Pick the one that led to a much longer path.
Huh. I didn't like... Clearly, there's some design flaws to... Let's see... 4. Well, if you want to get the right answer... So, to put it another way... Well, thank you. Here, take the photometer. Also...
How about you do neither?
Huh?
If it was that urgent, someone would have come looking by now. That applies both to your troop and to Bonnie's owner.
What you're saying is, since nobody's come looking, I can just keep hanging out with Bonnie for a bit longer? Is that really okay?
Well, Bonnie sure seems to like that idea. No bonuses. We need a 10. That's a 4.
Maybe not. Besides, if someone does come looking for me or Bonnie,
We may have to
and
redo
finds
this
me
just to redo that
chilling
check.
out with a cat.
Yeah, it's not letting me. Alright, so we have to go until this is over.
Nope. Besides,
and
the drinks
then
it might get stewed. One other
we
thing.
just reset it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe we have to do a
I didn't like-
successful check to get that last option.
Clearly, there's some
Without
design.
any bonuses.
See? 4. Well, if you want to get the right. So, to put it another way. Thank you. Here, take the face off. Also. Huh? What you're saying, is that real?
$11, there we go, success.
You make a good point.
We can just stick around here for a while. So if anyone does come looking for you, they'll find you.
Okay, well, assuming Bonnie hasn't strayed too far from where she went missing, there's a chance we might bump into her owner in either the Steambird offices or the restaurant. So, stick around here in standby mode? Yeah, that suits me.
Standby mode. Some cat food?
Oh, good idea. Bonnie's definitely hungry.
And if we're getting cat food, shall we get some snacks for us too?
May as well. We could be here a while.
Oh, since we've got cat food and snacks, let's find a place to chill.
When I was trying to find somewhere I could space out earlier, collect my thoughts, I figured the cafe might be a good shot. Alright then. Plan of action? Spend the whole day spacing out. In standby mode.
Hey, Yep, that's right into it. Standby mode. Doing nothing is the happiest thing. Amazing. And that is it for her hangout. Ding ding, all endings reached. Tomorrow will be this. Let's see. I'll just sign out here, even if we're not in front of the Adventures Guild. Grab some of the quests over at the Steambird. There's like 3 of those weekly. Hang out. How about right next to the Steambird himself? Okay. Also, before we do that, unlock all endings. Speed run. Persuade Lynette to spend a leisurely, peaceful day with you. That's great. Fucking speed run. And so first, then, oh, we only got up to 8. We just got a bunch of them from the other thing, so I thought we'd have 10. I was wrong. Well.
Hello.
Okay. There we go. Ugh. And for all we know, complete it within the stream. And of course, I'll be doing the world quest stuff on my own because it's not voiced. But it'll be just my luck that it'll end up being more interesting than any of these stories. Because, to be honest, oh, Oh, what are these? I'll have to go and check that out. Now, to be honest, a lot of the world quests are actually pretty good. Like the big ones that they give us. Also, you're seeing those pop up right now. Apparently there were some Twitch drops. So I just got some stuff. Right. That's that. Now let's see who we can raid. Good choices, good choices. I think, maybe. No. No. Maybe. Wait, are you really just playing? Yeah, fine, why not? We'll raid into Issa. Issa's a VTuber singer that we'll often find singing on here, but apparently right now she's playing Uno with a few other folks. And it may seem like a simple game, but it can get real funny if the wrong things happen, or if the right people are involved. So, okay, never mind, I cannot raid her. I should have checked first. Who else? Cinder playing Minecraft? Nope. It doesn't work either. How about you? No? Why is everyone setting so that small streamers can't raid in? I know why, but still. How about you? Just chatting? Yep, that works. We'll raid into Matara Khan. It says just chatting. Big chatting today. I can't get the full thing there, it seems. Maybe Terraria later. Looks like she's watching videos. Should be fun. Alright, well. Until next time, this is the Pirate King signing off. Have a good night.